Hi Hypno Yogis, thanks for coming to another video. I'm the HypnoSwami and I'm looking forward to sharing this wonderful summer recipe with you. Today what you'll need is orange juice. I am using this Odwalla. It doesn't matter what kind of orange juice you use, just as long as it is real orange juice. There's a lot of syrupy stuff out there which might as well just be orange Kool-Aid. You want real orange juice, you can squeeze it yourself, or you can just do like what I did, is get yourself a nice big jug of this Odwalla orange juice, or whatever else is available and cheap. This was actually a couple bucks off at Safeway. So this is usually about 10 bucks and I got it for about 7. Awesome deal. You'll also need Class A maple syrup. The good stuff that we've talked about before with all the good minerals and everything. Not that pancake syrup stuff, but real maple syrup. You'll also need some cloves. Just a few of these will be fine. You don't need to have a big old bag like this. What we'll do is we'll just crunch up a few in there and throw them in. Probably about 3 or 4 maybe. You'll also need a whole bunch of apricots. I got these apricots at the farmer's market, and you want to have plenty to be able to fill at least a 3-quart crock pot. You'll also want chicken. For this recipe I have 5 breasts of chicken. You'll also be needing a knife and a cutting board and some cleaning utensils to keep everything nice and clean as you move along. What I've done here is I already have put my chicken breast in the crock pot. The crock pot is not on. I have 5 chicken breasts in here for this recipe. Before we get messy, let's go ahead and take care of the dry stuff. And that means let's grab a couple of these cloves out. We'll just get maybe 4. That's what I got here. And we'll wrap that up and put that over to the side because we don't need it anymore. Now I do prefer to kind of squish up my cloves before I throw them in, just in case one of them gets in someone's food by accident. Sometimes it happens. Then it's not a big, huge stick of clove. There's one way that I can do this, and you can do this, and that's simply by taking the blade of the knife and squishing it down like that. That'll get it nice and squished up. It doesn't have to be perfectly squished. I just like to have it cracked, and then I just toss it in there. Some other chefs that I've known will actually stick them in the chicken, so that's another thing that you could do if you wanted to. You could take each one like a nail and stick it in each chicken breast. I prefer just to keep things simple and toss them in there just like that. Next, we're going to need to cut up the apricots. Now, you want to use enough apricots to fill up this whole quart because the fruit is really going to make it amazing. The orange juice and the maple syrup is just like spice. We're just going to add a little bit of it. So let's cut to a frame and I'll show you how to cut the apricots. Now to prepare these apricots, all you have to do is look for the seam and then just crack it open right there. Crack it open, split it in half just like that, and then we'll get rid of the pit right in the garbage can, which is right next to the chopping board. I like to keep everything nice and in line because it makes it simple to cut this way. All we need to do is cut these into quarters. When you're cutting, make sure that you keep the fingers curled in so that you don't accidentally cut yourself. That's an old chef trick. Also keep the thumb behind the fingers. And there you go, perfectly quartered apricots. So now that you have the way to cut the apricots, I'm going to go ahead and do that myself. And as I do this, hopefully I'll be able to come up with some fun stories for you guys, so you don't just have to watch me cut up a whole bunch of apricots. First we'll go ahead and toss in the ones that we already have. This is probably the longest process of the whole recipe. Now, I've been working really hard on figuring out how to do recipes that usually take a lot of time to create and turn them into really simple, fast recipes. One of the reasons why is because I'm very busy. I do all kinds of things. I'm a magician, I'm a personal fitness trainer, I'm a full-time single dad right now, which probably won't last long if I find the right person. But I'm also a stage hypnotist, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. Right now I'm finishing up my license in clinical mental health counseling. I'm not sure if I mentioned that I'm a clinical hypnotherapist as well, a life coach, a business coach, and then I have all kinds of hobbies as well. I love to play Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm a bit of a nerd. I play guitar, and I spend lots of time outdoors. So that doesn't leave me a lot of time for anything else, especially since I also have to make sure that I'm maintaining my own health so that I can be a good example for every hypno-yogi out there. No one would really want to trust a fat personal fitness trainer or hypnotist, I hope. Even though there are a lot of them out there, I think that we should be leading by example. And you'll find that as a theme. I'll never tell you to do anything that I personally haven't done myself. And seeing is believing. If someone's out there telling people to do a bunch of stuff and they're not willing to go through it themselves, then I would definitely use caution. A lot of people get caught up into the 9 to 5 and they think that they don't have enough time. But one of my goals here in these videos is to really help you find the time to be able to live healthy with simplicity. Because let's face it, that's the only way that we're actually going to be able to do this in our life. Because in modern society, everything is so ridiculously busy. We're under so much demand. A lot of times we have lack of sleep. There's going to be a video on sleep, by the way, sometime in the future here. That we're just constantly under stress. And our food does not have to be another source of stress. It can be simple. Now you'll notice that as I am doing this, I'm actually moving the crock pot over here close to the board so that I'm not drizzling apricot juice all over the place. Because like that whole mise en place theme, everything in order, it's important to keep your cleaning down to a minimal, especially if you're really busy. No busy person wants to spend a whole bunch of extra time having to clean up after themselves when they're making a healthy meal. You'll see I'm doing the same process over and over. I've almost got this thing full. I'm noticing a couple spots here. You want to keep your food clean, so if you see any spots like with the any blemishes or any apricot seed on there, you want to take that off. Apricot seeds actually contain arsenic, and you don't want that in your food, especially when you're going to be cooking it like this. And normally you'll hear me talking about raw food and how important raw food is, but we need to be honest with ourselves to a certain extent also, is that we do live in a modern society, and when it's cold, no one wants to sit around and eat a salad. So if we can create healthy cooked foods in the winter and fall, and healthy raw foods in the summer and spring, we're going to be in good shape. However, once in a while, it's just really easy to pop something in the crock pot like this and get yourself a meal going. You can see I'm almost already done. And this is pretty close to real time. I am talking a lot. Ooh, that one's no good. If you get one that's no good, just toss it. You don't even want to waste it. Waste the flavor on some no good fruit. And it happens, especially when you get fruit from farmer's market, because it is perishable. Sometimes you can get a good deal at your farmer's markets by buying big old boxes of food. And that's what I did with this. I got a huge box of apricots, like that deep and like that wide, for $30. I've been eating apricots for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I love apricots. I don't only eat apricots though. I eat lots of other stuff. I also got another box of all kinds of peaches. They got these yummy little donut peaches. And what else did I get? Nectarines. I got a whole bunch of nectarines and a couple melons. It's the flavor of the season. And this is one of the things about French and California gourmet is a really nice restaurant, like a five-star restaurant will cook in season, which means that they'll pick up food at farmers market to include in their recipes. And also it's a lot cheaper. A lot of people think that eating healthy is expensive, but the truth is that it can actually be a whole lot cheaper if you do it right, by buying the right foods in season. I have a friend who loves berries, and they'll buy berries all the time, whether they're in season or not, and sometimes they're paying like $5 for a big old thing of blueberries, but when they're not in season, they end up spending $10 or more for the same box of blueberries. So I highly suggest that you be conscious about that. So I'm just packing this in. The reason why you can go ahead and pack it all the way to the top like that is because there's going to be a breaking down of the food as it cooks. Now, let's add some yummy maple syrup to sweeten this up. You know, I don't like to measure too much, just give a little bit of a splosh. I probably put maybe 1/4 of a cup in there right there. You've probably heard me say this before, is that you can get away from all the measuring when you're cooking just normal meals. All that measuring stuff is great for baking, and you actually have to do it for baking. But when it comes to cooking real food, you can eyeball it to taste. Trust me, you're not going to ruin anything with a little extra maple syrup. Now, what we're going to do with the orange juice is we're just going to add this until the liquid comes up to the rim. To submerge all of the food that's in there. Now, even though I just said submerge, the apricots are still sticking up above it, and this is one of the reasons why the chicken is down below, so that it will get all those juices embedded into it, and it will be delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the lid on this. I'm going to start it off on high for probably about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to drop it down to low. And then I'm just going to let it go for the rest of the day while I'm at work, which will probably be about 8 hours. Then when I get home, I'll take 2 forks and I'll shred up the chicken so that it's all nice and shredded up there, and stir it all together so all the goodness is together. And then I'm going to plop it on a salad, and I'll show you what that looks like tonight. And all you have to do to shred this is grab yourself a couple of forks and just gently pull the meat apart. And if you've cooked it long enough, this stuff will just fall apart. Just go through there with these 2 forks and kind of gently just toy with it, and you'll find that it just really will fall apart just perfectly. Doesn't that look good? Go through each piece, shredding it really good. I wish I had some cool technique or trick for you guys, but it's pretty easy. And this, Hypno Yogis, is the end result of the apricot chicken salad. Enjoy! You may want to salt to taste. I like to put a little cayenne pepper on top. Is it good?